Today's tropical weather update is brought to you by State Insurance Company Limited. Live in a better state of mind.
And hello there, good morning. I'm meteorologist Leonard Josiah with the Antigua and Barbuda Meteorological Services. Together, let's take a look at your tropical weather update. Today is the 6th day of June, by the way, 6 days into the Atlantic hurricane season, and right away, nothing much for us to talk about. If you're in the Gulf of Mexico right here, nothing out there. You're looking at the Caribbean islands right here, including Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, even Jamaica and Cuba, the Central American area right here, and the Caribbean Sea. Nothing much for us to talk about for today. If you're in the Northern Atlantic out here in the ships, etc., that area is rather clear. And if you're in the Leeward Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, we are right there, islands of the Eastern Caribbean, all the way down south to Trinidad and Tobago. Our main development area stretches way across from Africa to the Eastern Caribbean. This zone right here, all this water and the tropical activity, nothing for us to worry about. You can rest your hearts at ease and your anxieties that every single thing is under a control, and the National Hurricane Center is suggesting in our 7th day outlook that tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. Let's take a look at your satellite imagery for right now. The North Atlantic, the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico is right behind of me. These are the Caribbean islands, Antigua and Barbuda. We are located in the Leeward Islands, the British Virgin Islands right here, all the way down south to Trinidad and Tobago. You're seeing some flare up of some clouds and some thunderstorm activity because of the base of an upper level trough and also the intertropical convergence zone. But our main area stretches from these Caribbean islands all the way out to Africa. You're seeing all this area void of anything significant. Yeah, the intertropical convergence zone. Take a look at this tropical wave right here, not given a chance of development at all. Why? Because the dusty environment around it is curtailing and just capping any major development. So for right now, the Atlantic Ocean all the way east to Africa in the main development area is nothing for us to worry about. But you saw some patches of low-level clouds, better seen on what we call our visible satellite imagery for us this morning. This black spot you see moving across here is what we call the terminating line between night and day. So you're now having the daylight seeing right here, and already you can see some dusty environment right there. Take a look at all of that dust right there. Some of this dust will reach the island territory sometime during the course of the weekend into early next week. Models are suggesting that the denser cloud of dust will be with us sometime during the course of Monday. But all this dust is surrounding this tropical wave, and because of that, you're not seeing much in the way of development. Some patches of low-level clouds are moving by on the easterly trades. For us in the Eastern Caribbean islands, the visibilities and your dustiness right now is not much for us to worry about. The clarity of the atmosphere is a-okay, at least for us right now. But going on into the weekend, some of that dust can also impact us. This tropical wave, most of the clouds are located within the intertropical convergence zone, and the National Hurricane Center is suggesting that we are not going to be seeing too much in the way of development. But for us right now, this is not outside of the norm, because the month of July right here, you're seeing that we're just off the starting, but there's nothing much for us to worry about. If there's going to be any storms that form, they're going to be in the western parts of the region, not necessarily in the main development area. For us in the Eastern Caribbean islands, the time to worry about is between August and October. Not to say that we cannot be impacted by tropical systems, but the climatology suggests that our main peak takes place around August and September, and these are the times that the main development area becomes rather active. So you can rest your hearts at ease. Everything is a-okay. Going on into the weekend, you should not have or see anything for you to worry about. Well, the last time I was with you, I spoke to you about what we call the hurricane tip. I'm going to be diving a little bit deeper. But for us right now, let's recap. First line of attack in your hurricane preparedness: understand those hazards. What are those hazards in our recap? The last time I said to you, these are strong winds, tornadoes, heavy rainfall that can bring flooding, etc., rough seas, and your storm surge. Why this is important is because of what we call, there is an interplay between your hazards and knowing your vulnerability. The WMO suggests that vulnerability is the susceptibility of exposed elements such as people, their livelihood, and their properties to suffer adversely when affected by those hazards. Take a look at this word, suffer. Suffer means that you're going to be incurring some hardship because of those hazards. That's why we're saying to you that understanding your vulnerability is extremely important for you to respond to those hazards. A little bit more clearer, your vulnerability is basically the weakness. Yeah, it's your weakness, and this is closely related to the hazards, meaning that you can be living on a hill and you're exposed to more of the wind impact. But if you're in the valley, you're going to be more exposed to the flooding. So if you're on the hill, your vulnerability will be to the wind. You have to prepare for the wind. You may not necessarily prepare for flooding because you're not going to be having flooding on top of a hillside. Well, at least it's not going to be, the chances are not going to be higher. But if you're in the valleys, you're going to have higher chances of flooding and possibly higher chances of winds in some instances. So knowing your vulnerability, how your weakness plays into those hazards, mean that you can suffer and negatively suffer impacts. The goal, and here is it, your ultimate goal therefore is to overcome your weakness. And this will build your resiliency. So what you should do is to survey where you're located. If you're vulnerable to flooding impacts, possibly you could build a retaining wall. If you're in the community, you can limit the amount of flooding by taking care of the drainage. If you're in a wind-known area, you can build your house for the lessen the impacts of the wind. That's what we call lessening your vulnerability and to build resiliency. This is the ultimate goal we want for you to do, is to build your resiliency. And when you build your resiliency, vulnerability comes down and you can face those hazards, understanding that you will be saved. Remember, the ultimate goal also is to save your life and your property. Remember, if you're on the outside, take a pic or two, send it over to us. We want to see them. We want to engage with you. We want for your eyes to be our eyes. So remember to send those pics and videos to abmsiwatch@gmail.com. Remember, send this out to everyone. We are your trusted weather source. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on X. The social media is definitely coming alive with the presence of a lot of YouTubers, but we are your bona fide warning agency. If you're in Antigua, hotline to call is 463-4638. And by the way, you can get a lot of information by our website at abmsiwatch.com. Continue to monitor with us and stay ready. The peak of the hurricane season can impact us here in the Eastern Caribbean. As I always leave you, the weather will always change, but you can keep weathering your weather in spite of the weather, whether you like it or not. I'm Leonard Josiah, wishing you a safe and productive day and a restful weekend.
Today's tropical weather update has been brought to you by State Insurance Company Limited. Live in a better state of mind.